Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today, we're going over the top 10 Oculus Quest titles. Now these are of course my personal favorites, and I'm sure you have some of your own, so don't forget to leave those in the comments. Okay guys, let's get into this. So starting with number 10 and working our way up, we have Arizona Sunshine. Arizona Sunshine is a trip through the zombie apocalypse, featuring a 5-hour campaign, playable in co-op with up to 4 people, 8 separate large open levels, featuring deserts, canyons, and mines, and over 25 different weapons to use to mow down zombies. And it also features a horde mode for some added replayability. Now the only major drawback to this game is its $40 price tag. That's a bit more than we're used to spending on the average VR game. So if you happen to find this game on sale, and you have a bunch of friends who are willing to try it out with you, then I highly recommend it. So next up is Pistol Whip, and if you ever wanted to combine some John Wick action with a dance music rhythm game, well then look no further. Pistol Whip is a really unique take on the rhythm genre. The environments are vibrant and pulsate to the beat, the music pumps you up, and taking down enemies with perfectly timed shots or the occasional pistol whip is truly satisfying. It's also going to make you feel like you just did leg day at the gym. Cloudhead Games has been aggressively pushing out updates, making this title definitely worth the $25 price tag. So next up is the recently released Phantom Covert Ops. This title brings a few unique items to the table. Once again, it's one of those rare VR titles to feature a full-length single-player campaign. It's one of a very short list of VR stealth-based titles, and it's definitely the only stealth-based kayak title. That's right, if you're not familiar with this game, you will paddle your way through missions armed with special covert operations gear. You'll be sniping targets from a distance, paddling past spotlights, and ultimately living out those Splinter Cell style fantasies in VR. With some pretty intense action scenes and trial missions for replayability, Covert Ops is the best option for anyone looking for a stealth-based game. So next up is everybody's favorite rhythm game, Beat Saber. It's super easy to get into, allows you to play with lightsabers, and features an amazing and ever-growing soundtrack. The gameplay is addictive, and so is mastering your skills. Building up that muscle memory to take down expert songs just feels so satisfying. And even if you're not interested in becoming a pro, the game is still a blast, and it's a great way to introduce people to VR. Within seconds they know what to do, and they're loving every second of it. Beat Games has also been pumping out a steady stream of updates to keep everyone satisfied. So next up we have the most unique shooter you will ever play, and that is Super Hot. Super Hot is a VR game in a VR world where enemies only move when you move. It leads to these extremely intense, almost puzzle-like shootouts, where sometimes you just barely survive by the skin of your teeth, and then as you progress with your skills, you start making ridiculous moves, like taking out enemies from a distance with a stapler. Unfortunately though, this title is a little short, and if you have no interest in replaying content, you might want to wait for this one to be on sale. It is still, however, an amazingly unique VR experience. So next up is Space Pirate Trainer, which is hands down my favorite wave shooter. The game is instantly intuitive, so much in fact that it is always the #1 title I use to introduce someone to VR. You have 2 separate guns, each with multiple different firing modes, and you can reach over your back to pull out a shield. Ultimately, that sounds extremely simple, but the variety in weapons and enemies leads to some truly strategic combat. You'll end up running around your room dodging lasers, switching weapons on the fly based on the enemies you're fighting, and culminating those battles in an epic boss fight, all while being pumped up by a fantastic soundtrack. Okay, so next up is Robo Recall. Robo Recall is just this perfect combination of extremely fun gameplay and mechanics, replayability, and a nice bit of variety. Replaying missions to unlock weapon upgrades never feels like a chore, and testing out those new weapons on enemies is always a blast. So is learning the different ways to maximize your score, such as grabbing bullets out of midair and throwing them back at the enemy, or bullet juggling an enemy in midair, or even bopping an enemy with one of your thrown weapons to automatically reload it. It also features a quirky little storyline, which is just a nice little touch on top. I'm really hoping that one day we will get a sequel to this title. So next up is easily the best sports game available in VR, and that is Echo Arena. What makes this even better is the fact that it is completely free. The game is highly addictive and plays out a bit like Rocket League mixed with rugby. Launching the puck into the net or punching someone in the face is equally satisfying, and you get to do this while floating around in zero-G. It's one of those titles where the skill gap is insane. New players will struggle just to touch the puck, while veterans will pull off moves like a triple backflip and score by ricocheting the puck off of 3 different walls. You don't need to feel intimidated though, because there is ranked matchmaking, and it's fun just learning how to play. Okay, so next up is the newly released In Death. This archery shooter battle through the afterlife absolutely impressed me. It features extremely intense combat, addictive gameplay, and some truly creepy enemies and immersive environments. Mastering your ability to dodge, block arrows with your shield, and pull off those perfect headshots is so completely satisfying. At the moment, I can only play this game in 30 to 60 minute clips before I start to feel too strung out from the at times brutally difficult combat and just the overall spookiness, but I still love this game regardless. So next up is Moss, which is truly one of the most charming puzzle games you will ever experience. This game also happens to be stunningly beautiful on the PC VR version, and luckily, not too much of that is lost on the Quest version. Over time, you'll fall in love with the main protagonist, Quill, and you truly end up feeling like you are on a journey together. The puzzles are quite clever and work fantastically well in VR, and there's also some truly intense combat towards the end. I reluctantly tried out Moss only after about 100 people recommended it to me, and I thought I wouldn't be able to enjoy a puzzle game featuring a cute mouse. Well, I was wrong, and it's now on my top 10 Oculus Quest games. So last up is the 3-part series of Vader Immortal. Vader Immortal gives you a little bit of everything. I personally love story-driven content, and the fact that this story takes place in the Star Wars universe, and I come face to face with Darth Vader, makes it that much better. You'll get to battle stormtroopers, enemy droids, and even Darth Vader himself using a lightsaber and force powers. Vader Immortal also just so happens to be one of the best looking Oculus Quest titles. It's a great game for newcomers to VR and veterans alike. The storyline is definitely a bit too short, coming in under 2 hours long, but the game does help make up for it with a wave-based dojo minigame. So the game will let you jump in at any time and satisfy those Jedi cravings you may have. And this is definitely a title that every VR gamer should experience. Okay everybody, that was my top 10 Oculus Quest games. Wait a second, that was actually my top 11 Oculus games. In Death just recently released, and I just had to add it to this list. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to let me know in the comments what games are your favorites, and if you're new here, consider subscribing.